Long ago, in a gentle land called Lunalia, there stood a beautiful castle on top of a green hill. The castle was surrounded by flower fields, shining rivers, and soft forests where friendly animals lived peacefully. Every morning, golden sunlight painted the sky with warm colors, and every night, thousands of stars sparkled above the land like tiny diamonds. In this magical kingdom lived Princess Elira, the youngest daughter of King Rohan. Elira was known across the valleys and forests for her kindness and gentle smile. People said her eyes shone like moonlight on a quiet lake. She loved nature more than grand parties. She often spent her days walking among colorful flowers, watching butterflies dance in the air, and listening to birds sing sweet songs from the branches above. On warm afternoons, she sat beside the lake and tossed the ball into the air again and again. The shining ball glimmered beautifully beneath the sunlight. Around her, rabbits hopped through flower patches, fireflies rested among tall grass, and small deer drank from the lake. Everything felt calm and happy. As the day slowly moved toward evening, soft pink clouds appeared above the forest. Elira tossed her silver ball higher than before. She watched it rise toward the glowing sky, never knowing that this simple moment would begin an unforgettable adventure filled with magic, friendship, and wonder. The evening became quieter as a soft breeze moved through the enchanted forest. Gentle leaves danced above Princess Elira, and the water of Moon Lake shone like polished glass. The air smelled fresh with flowers and sweet forest herbs. Small birds flew home to their nests, while glowing butterflies slowly disappeared among the tall trees. Elira smiled peacefully as she continued playing with her magical silver bowl. Every time she threw it into the sky, it caught the last golden light of the sun and sparkled like a tiny moon. She laughed softly and reached out to catch it again. The peaceful game filled her heart with joy. Then, during one hired throw, the silver ball slipped from her fingers. Instead of falling back into her hands, it landed near the edge of the lake. The ball rolled across the smooth grass, bounced over a small stone, and quietly slipped into the clear blue water. Gentle circles spread across the lake as the shining ball slowly sank deeper and deeper. Elira hurried to the shore and looked into the water. The lake was clear near the surface, but the deeper parts became dark blue and mysterious. She could no longer see the glowing ball. Her happy smile slowly faded. She sat beside the water and watched the last light disappear beneath the lake. The forest became very still, as if every tree was waiting with her. Tiny fireflies began to appear around the flowers, and the first stars woke in the evening sky. Elira felt a little sad because the silver bowl was a special gift from her late grandmother, who always told her that true kindness was brighter than any treasure. She closed her eyes and listened to the gentle sound of the water touching the shore. The peaceful lake reflected the glowing moon above. Although sadness rested quietly inside her heart, the magical forest remained calm and beautiful, hidden below the shining water. Something kind and wonderful had already noticed the lonely princess and was slowly swimming upward toward the moonlit shore. The moon climbed slowly into the dark blue sky, filling the enchanted forest with soft silver light. Moon Lake became even more beautiful. The quiet water reflected bright stars like tiny floating diamonds. Fireflies danced above the flowers, and small glowing fish swam close to the surface. Princess Elira still sat beside the lake. She no longer searched for the silver bowl because she believed it was resting forever in the deep water. Even so, she stayed there for a little longer. The peaceful place made her heart feel calm again. A cool breeze touched her face, and the leaves whispered softly in the trees. Nearby, a family of rabbits rested under colorful flowers, while a little owl watched the lake from an old branch. Tiny drops of water glittered like crystals as the ball rested carefully on the grass near Alira. She looked at the beautiful gift with surprise and quiet happiness. Her heart became warm again. She carefully picked up the silver ball and held it close to her chest. The shining stars inside the ball seemed even brighter than before. The enchanted forest felt full of hope. Once again, above them, the moon smiled over the peaceful lake, while hidden magic gently began to change the path of two lives that had only just met beneath the quiet night sky. The peaceful night wrapped the enchanted forest in soft silence. The moon floated high above Moon Lake, and its gentle light covered the flowers, trees, and water with a shining silver glow. Princess Alira held her magical silver ball carefully in both hands. She felt thankful because the precious gift from her grandmother had returned safely. Around the quiet shore, little fireflies moved slowly through the cool air like tiny lanterns. A family of white swans rested near the reeds, and colorful dragonflies slept on broad green leaves. Everything felt calm and safe, as if the whole forest was breathing softly before bedtime. The small magical frog stayed beside the lake. His bright golden eyes reflected the moonlight, and the tiny blue crystal around his neck glowed gently. Alira looked at the little creature with warm curiosity. She could feel that he carried a kind heart hidden behind his simple appearance. The frog waited patiently without moving. The peaceful silence between them felt gentle instead of strange. Alira remembered the lesson her grandmother had taught her many years before. Every act of kindness should always be returned with honesty and gratitude. She placed one hand over her heart and silently made a promise.
From that night on, she would never forget the little frog who had helped her without asking for treasure or gold. She wished to treat every living creature with respect, whether large or small. A soft wind carried the sweet smell of jasmine through the forest. Tiny fairy lights floated above the lake, making the water sparkle like a sky filled with stars. The frog quietly turned toward a narrow path leading away from Moon Lake.
He hopped slowly into the glowing forest, disappearing between silver trees and blooming flowers. Alira watched until he was no longer visible. She then walked back toward the castle with peaceful steps. The silver ball shone gently in her hands, while the moonlight followed her across the flower fields. Deep inside the magical forest, unseen ancient magic quietly awakened. The promise made beneath the silver moon had begun a journey that would soon reveal a wonderful secret hidden for many long years. A bright new morning arrived over the kingdom of Luna. Golden sunlight gently touched the castle towers, and tiny birds sang cheerful songs from every garden tree. Fresh dew sparkled on colorful flowers, making each petal shine like a small jewel. Princess Alira woke early and opened her window. She smiled as she watched butterflies dance over the royal gardens. The peaceful night at Moon Lake still filled her heart with warmth. She carefully placed her magical silver ball on a small silver table beside her bed before dressing for the day. Today, she wore a soft sky blue dress with delicate silver embroidery that reminded her of the calm lake under the moon. The castle slowly became busy as cooks prepared fresh bread, warm honey cakes, sweet fruit, and cool milk for breakfast. Friendly servants decorated the long dining hall with flowers picked from the royal garden. Large crystal windows filled the room with warm morning light. King Rohan waited happily for his daughters, and soon everyone gathered around the beautiful table. Laughter filled the great hall, while gentle music from a golden harp floated softly through the air. Outside, white doves rested on the castle walls, and colorful banners moved peacefully in the light breeze. As everyone enjoyed the quiet morning, a soft tapping sound came from the great wooden gate. The sound was gentle but clear. The guards looked at one another with surprise because very few visitors came so early. The castle doors slowly opened. Standing outside was the same little green frog from Moon Lake. His golden eyes still shone kindly, and the blue crystal around his neck sparkled in the sunlight. He waited calmly without fear. The warm breeze moved gently around him as flowers beside the path opened their bright petals. Princess Elira looked toward the entrance and recognized her small forest friend at once. She remembered the silent promise she had made beneath the silver moon. A quiet feeling of responsibility filled her heart. The magical silver ball resting upstairs suddenly seemed brighter, as though it also remembered the peaceful night beside the enchanted lake. Unknown to everyone inside the castle, this simple visit was about to open the first door to an ancient magic that had been sleeping for many years. Morning sunlight filled the crystal castle with a soft golden glow. Warm light passed through the tall crystal windows and painted shining colors across the marble floor. The air smelled of fresh bread, sweet apples, and colorful flowers from the royal garden. King Rowan watched everything with gentle wisdom. He believed that true kindness was shown by actions instead of words. Elira remembered the promise she had made beside Moon Lake. Her heart felt a little nervous, but she also knew that keeping a promise was the right thing to do. She slowly welcomed the little frog into the castle. The frog hopped carefully across the smooth marble floor without making much sound. Many servants smiled with quiet surprise, while the royal sisters watched with curious eyes. No one laughed at the small visitor. Instead, the peaceful castle remained full of respect and calm. Elira gently prepared a small place beside her chair. A tiny silver plate was placed near her own, together with a little crystal cup filled with fresh spring water. Sunlight reflected across the table like dancing stars. The frog rested quietly beside her, looking around the beautiful hall with grateful eyes. Outside the windows, white clouds floated slowly across the bright blue sky. Butterflies visited the palace garden, and colorful songbirds rested among blooming roses. Everything felt safe and gentle. As breakfast continued, the magical blue crystal around the frog's neck began to glow a little brighter than before. The light was soft, almost like moonlight shining during the daytime. No one noticed except Princess Elira. She wondered why the crystal had changed. Deep inside the castle walls, ancient magic quietly stirred once again. A forgotten secret was slowly waking, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the true story hidden beneath the little frog's peaceful smile. The peaceful morning slowly turned into a quiet afternoon. Soft white clouds drifted across the bright sky, and a gentle wind carried the sweet scent of roses through the open windows of the crystal castle. After breakfast, Princess Elira walked into the royal garden with the little green frog beside her. The garden was full of colorful flowers, singing birds, and sparkling fountains. Butterflies floated from one flower to another, while tiny fairies, no bigger than flowers, hid among the petals and filled the air with soft golden light. The magical place felt calm, warm, and perfect for a peaceful day. Elira sat on a smooth, white stone bench beside a clear stream. She placed her silver ball on her lap and watched the water flow quietly over shining pebbles. The frog rested near her feet. His bright golden eyes reflected the sunlight, and the blue crystal around his neck glowed more brightly than before. The gentle light spread across the grass like tiny stars. Small woodland animals slowly gathered around them. White rabbits, little squirrels, bluebirds, and a young deer came closer without fear. They seemed to understand that something wonderful was happening. The crystal continued to shine with a soft blue light. Tiny sparkling leaves began to float gently around the frog. Beautiful glowing flowers opened one after another, even though they had already bloomed that morning. The whole garden seemed to welcome the quiet magic. Elira watched in peaceful wonder. She did not feel afraid. Instead, she felt that the magic carried kindness and hope. The warm sunlight mixed with the blue glow, creating gentle colors that danced across the flowers and trees. Far above the castle, a bright rainbow slowly appeared after a light passing rain. Its colorful bridge stretched across the sky, reaching toward the enchanted forest and moon lake in the distance. Hidden deep inside the glowing crystal, an ancient spell quietly weakened. Every kind action, every honest promise, and every gentle heart brought the little frog one step closer to his true destiny. The peaceful journey had only just begun, and the greatest miracle was waiting patiently beyond the rainbow. The days passed gently in the kingdom of Luna. Every sunrise brought warm golden light, and every evening painted the sky with soft pink, purple, and silver colors. Princess Elira and the little green frog spent many peaceful days together. They walked through flower gardens, visited the sparkling streams, and rested beneath the great silver trees. The frog never asked for anything special. He was always thankful for every small moment. Elira slowly discovered that true friendship could grow in the quietest and simplest ways. She no longer noticed that her little companion looked different from everyone else. She only saw his kind heart. Soon, the happiest celebration of the year arrived. The people of Lunalia prepared for the Moon Blossom Festival, a magical night when thousands of silver flowers opened only under the full moon. Every house was decorated with glowing lanterns shaped like stars. Children wore flower crowns, musicians played gentle melodies, and families gathered in the castle gardens to enjoy the peaceful evening together. The air smelled of sweet jasmine, fresh lavender, and warm honey cakes. Fireflies danced above the grass like tiny floating lights. Princess Elira chose a beautiful light violet gown with shining silver patterns that looked like moonlight on water. She carried her magical silver ball as she walked through the glowing garden paths. The little frog stayed beside her, happily watching the colorful festival. Friendly unicorn foals played among the flowers. Tiny fairies floated around the lanterns, and gentle cloud birds circled slowly above the castle towers. The whole kingdom seemed wrapped in quiet magic. When the full moon reached the highest place in the sky, the blue crystal around the frog's neck suddenly glowed brighter than ever before. Soft blue light mixed with silver moonlight and spread gently across the entire garden. The glowing flowers became even brighter, and sparkling petals floated peacefully through the cool night air. Everyone stopped for a moment, amazed by the beautiful light. Elira looked at her little friend with calm wonder. Deep inside her heart, she felt that something very special was about to happen. The ancient magic was almost ready to reveal its greatest secret beneath the peaceful light of the full moon. The full moon shone brightly above the kingdom of Luna. Silver flowers covered the royal garden like a soft, glowing carpet, and thousands of tiny stars filled the peaceful night sky. Gentle music from wooden flutes drifted through the cool evening air. Fireflies floated between the flowers, and friendly fairies spread tiny trails of sparkling light wherever they flew. Princess Elira stood quietly in the middle of the beautiful garden. She held her magical silver ball close to her heart, while the little green frog rested beside her feet. The blue crystal around his neck glowed brighter than ever before. The gentle light slowly became stronger. It wrapped around the frog like a soft blanket of blue and silver stars. The air stayed calm. No loud sound came from the magic. Instead, the light moved peacefully, like quiet waves across a sleeping lake. Every flower gently turned toward the glowing circle. The birds became silent, and even the wind seemed to stop for a peaceful moment. Little by little, the frog's shape began to change. The bright light became warmer, and tiny sparkling leaves floated through the air. When the glowing light slowly faded, the little frog was no longer standing in the garden. In his place stood a young prince with kind golden eyes and warm brown hair. Around his neck remained the same blue crystal, now shining like a beautiful morning star. He wore elegant white and silver royal clothes, decorated with small blue gemstones. His gentle smile was filled with gratitude and peace. Princess Elira looked at him with quiet wonder. She did not feel fear. She only felt happiness because her kind friend had finally found his true form. The moonlight surrounded them with soft silver light, while the fairies joyfully circled above. The ancient spell had disappeared, not because of great power, but because of kindness, honesty, patience, and a promise that had been faithfully kept. The peaceful garden became brighter than ever before. Far beyond the castle, the enchanted forest also sparkled with gentle light, celebrating the end of a long magical journey and the beginning of a beautiful new chapter filled with hope, friendship, and peaceful dreams. The peaceful garden remained quiet after the wonderful transformation. The full moon still shone above the kingdom of Lunea, and its gentle light covered every flower with a soft silver glow. Princess Elira and Prince Kalen slowly walked along a small stone path that curved beside a clear stream. Tiny fairies floated above the water, leaving sparkling trails behind them. Friendly rabbits rested beneath the flowers, while white swans glided across a nearby crystal pond. Everything around them felt calm, warm, and full of peace. Prince Galan looked at the glowing blue crystal that still rested around his neck. It had become smaller now, but it continued to shine with a gentle light. As he touched it softly, happy memories slowly returned to his heart. Long ago, he had lived in a peaceful kingdom hidden beyond the Rainbow Mountains. He had loved exploring magical forests and helping every creature he met. One day, a lonely sorceress became jealous because kindness brought him so much happiness. Instead of learning to be kind to herself, she placed an ancient sleeping spell upon him. The spell changed him into a small frog and could only be broken when someone showed true friendship without expecting any reward. Many years passed beside Moon Lake. Seasons came and went. Flowers bloomed and faded. Snow covered the forest, and warm spring returned again. Through every season, Prince Kalen waited patiently, never losing hope. He believed that one day a kind heart would appear. That hope finally became true when Princess Alira kept her promise with honesty and respect. She welcomed him with kindness, not because of magic, but because it was the right thing to do. The gentle breeze carried sweet flower petals across the garden as Prince Kalen smiled with quiet gratitude. Above them, the stars sparkled like tiny lanterns in the peaceful sky. Alira listened carefully, feeling thankful that even difficult times could end with hope. The magical blue crystal slowly released one final ray of light before becoming a beautiful clear gemstone. Its work was complete. The night became even more peaceful, and both friends knew that tomorrow would begin a brand new adventure filled with joy, friendship, and gentle dreams beneath the endless stars. Morning arrived quietly after the magical night. The first golden rays of the sun touched the towers of the crystal castle, and the whole kingdom of Lunalia woke gently. Birds sang sweet songs from the silver trees, while soft clouds floated across a bright blue sky. Princess Alira stood on the castle balcony, watching the peaceful valleys below. Beside her stood Prince Kalen. His smile was calm and warm, and the clear crystal around his neck sparkled softly in the morning light. Today was a special day. They would begin a peaceful journey to visit Kalen's homeland beyond the Rainbow Mountains. In the castle courtyard, a beautiful carriage waited near the flower gardens. It was made from white crystal wood and decorated with silver vines and tiny blue flowers. 8 gentle white horses stood proudly in front of it. Their long manes shimmered like silk, and their golden harnesses sparkled under the morning sun. Small birds rested happily on the carriage roof, while colorful butterflies flew around the horses without fear. The air smelled of fresh roses, lavender, and sweet spring grass. King Rowan gave his warm blessing with a gentle smile. The people of Lunalia gathered to wave goodbye. Children held colorful flower bouquets. Musicians played soft melodies, and tiny fairies floated above the crowd, scattering glowing flower petals that drifted through the fresh morning breeze. Alira looked back at her beloved castle one last time before stepping into the carriage beside Prince Kalen. Her magical silver ball rested safely in a small velvet bag, shining quietly as if it wished to join the adventure. The horses began to walk slowly along a peaceful road lined with blooming flowers and tall green trees. The wheels rolled smoothly across the golden path. Ahead, the Rainbow Mountains shone beneath the morning sun, while a wide rainbow stretched across the sky like a magical bridge. Friendly deer watched from the forest edge, and sparkling streams flowed beside the road. Every gentle sound blended together into a peaceful melody. As the carriage continued its quiet journey, both travelers felt that the world ahead was filled with new friendships, beautiful places, and endless wonders waiting to be discovered. The crystal carriage moved gently along the peaceful road. Its wheels rolled smoothly over golden stones that sparkled under the warm morning sun. On both sides of the path, green hills stretched far into the distance. Bright wildflowers danced in the soft breeze, and clear streams sang quiet songs as they flowed between smooth rocks. Princess Elira looked through the carriage window with a peaceful smile. Prince Kalan sat beside her, enjoying the beautiful view. The gentle rhythm of the journey made everything feel calm, safe, and perfect for a quiet morning adventure. Behind the carriage rode a loyal guardian named Sir Alden. He had served Prince Kalan since they were both very young. Sir Alden wore shining silver armor with a long, royal blue cape that moved softly in the wind. His kind face carried a warm smile, and his gentle gray horse walked proudly behind the crystal carriage. During the long years when the prince had lived under the ancient spell, Sir Alden never stopped believing that one day his true friend would return. Every season, he had quietly protected the hidden roads leading toward the Rainbow Kingdom, keeping hope alive in his faithful heart. As the journey continued, the road entered a peaceful forest filled with giant trees whose leaves shimmered like emerald glass. Friendly squirrels jumped from branch to branch. Colorful birds sang happy melodies high above, while little foxes watched curiously from flower-covered hills. Tiny glowing fairies floated among the branches, spreading soft, golden dust that sparkled in the sunlight. Everything welcomed the travelers with gentle beauty. Suddenly, a cool breeze carried hundreds of silver leaves into the air. They swirled around the carriage like a magical dance before floating softly back to the ground. Prince Kalan smiled warmly because he recognized the ancient blessing of the forest. It was the forest's peaceful way of celebrating his safe return home. Sir Alden quietly placed one hand over his heart with deep gratitude. After many long years of waiting, hope had finally become reality. The road ahead stretched toward the shining Rainbow Mountains, where new adventures, joyful reunions, and peaceful dreams were waiting beneath the endless blue sky. The peaceful journey continued through green valleys and gentle hills until the Rainbow Mountains stood tall before the travelers. Their shining peaks glowed with soft colors that changed gently in the sunlight. Small waterfalls flowed down the mountainsides like ribbons of crystal. The air felt cool and fresh, carrying the sweet smell of pine trees, wild flowers, and clean mountain water. Princess Elira looked through the carriage window with quiet wonder. Every part of the beautiful land seemed to shine with gentle magic. Prince Kalan smiled warmly because he knew they were finally close to his home. As the carriage climbed the winding mountain road, a gray rainbow stretched across the sky. It formed a glowing bridge above the highest valley. Beneath the rainbow stood the hidden Rainbow Kingdom. The beautiful city was built from white stone and shining crystal. Tall towers reached toward the clouds, and colorful gardens covered every hill. Clear rivers flowed peacefully through the streets, crossed by elegant crystal bridges. Tree houses rested among giant flowering trees, while friendly unicorns grazed in wide green meadows. Bright birds with colorful feathers flew across the blue sky, and tiny fairies floated between blooming flowers, filling the air with sparkling light. The people of the Rainbow Kingdom gathered happily at the great gate. They had waited many years for their beloved prince to return. Everyone wore bright clothes, decorated with flowers and silver ribbons. Children waved small colorful flags, Musicians played gentle songs, and smiling families filled the streets with joy. No loud celebration disturbed the peaceful feeling. Instead, happiness spread quietly from one heart to another, like warm sunlight after a long winter. When Prince Kalen stepped down from the crystal carriage, he looked around the kingdom with grateful eyes. Princess Elira walked beside him, carrying her magical silver ball that still glowed softly in the afternoon light. The gentle breeze carried flower petals through the air as church-like crystal bells rang sweetly across the valley. High above, white clouds drifted slowly beyond the rainbow. Both travelers knew they had reached a place where kindness, friendship, and hope had always been treasured. Their greatest adventure was almost complete, and one final, peaceful celebration waited beyond the shining castle gates. As the golden afternoon slowly became a peaceful evening, the Rainbow Kingdom glowed with gentle light. The sky turned soft shades of pink, orange, and lavender, while the first stars quietly appeared above the tall crystal towers. Warm lanterns shaped like flowers lit the winding garden paths. Their gentle glow reflected on small streams that flowed peacefully through the royal gardens. Princess Elira and Prince Kalen walked side by side beneath graceful cherry blossom trees. Soft petals floated around them like tiny feathers, carried by a cool evening breeze. Every step felt calm and filled with quiet happiness. At the center of the royal garden stood the Tree of Peace, an ancient tree with shining silver leaves and glowing blue blossoms. The wise people of the kingdom believed that the tree became brighter whenever hearts were filled with kindness and honesty. As Elira and Kalen came closer, the great tree began to sparkle with thousands of tiny lights. Gentle birds gathered on its branches, while white butterflies rested among the glowing flowers. Friendly unicorns stood quietly beneath the tree, and little fairies circled around its wide trunk, leaving soft golden sparkles in the air. Princess Elira carefully placed her magical silver ball beneath the Tree of Peace. The silver ball glowed gently, then slowly released tiny stars that floated upward into the evening sky. They joined the first real stars above, making the whole garden shine with peaceful beauty. Prince Kalan smiled warmly. The clear crystal around his neck reflected the same gentle light, reminding him that true magic had never come from powerful spells. It had always lived inside acts of kindness, patience, friendship, and promises kept with an honest heart. As the moon slowly rose above the Rainbow Kingdom, soft music drifted through the gardens, from crystal wind chimes hanging in the trees. The peaceful sound mixed with the songs of night birds and the quiet whisper of flowing water. Elira closed her eyes for a moment and took a deep, gentle breath. Everything around her felt safe, warm, and full of hope. Tomorrow would bring another beautiful day. But tonight, the kingdom rested beneath a sky filled with stars, peaceful dreams, and the quiet light of everlasting friendship. The night became calm and quiet across the Rainbow Kingdom. A bright full moon floated high above the crystal castle, covering the land with soft silver light. The gardens rested peacefully beneath the stars, and every flower closed its petals for the night. Gentle streams continued their quiet song as they flowed through the green valleys. Tiny fireflies danced slowly above the grass, glowing like little golden stars. A cool breeze carried the sweet scent of jasmine and lavender through the peaceful air. It was the perfect night to rest, to dream, and to remember that kindness always finds its way home. Princess Ylira and Prince Kalen stood together on the highest balcony of the Crystal Castle. They looked across the beautiful kingdom where every home shone with warm lantern light. In the distance, the Rainbow Mountains rested beneath the moon, while Moon Lake sparkled softly far beyond the enchanted forest. Around the castle, friendly unicorns slept in flower meadows. Fairies rested inside glowing blossoms, and colorful birds tucked their heads beneath their wings. Even the ancient silver trees seemed to whisper peaceful bedtime songs as their shining leaves moved gently in the wind. Every corner of the kingdom felt safe, warm, and filled with gentle happiness. Princess Ylira smiled softly as she looked up at the endless stars. Prince Galang quietly stood beside her, thankful for every step that had led them to this peaceful moment. Their adventure had begun with a lost silver ball and a simple promise. It ended with friendship, courage, forgiveness, and hope that would live for many generations. Above them, the stars sparkled brighter than ever, watching over the sleeping kingdom. As the moon continued its silent journey across the sky, the whole magical world slowly closed its eyes, wrapped in peaceful dreams until the first light of another beautiful morning.